And WB, this is Building the Dream. And you might notice that it looks a little different and that I have nothing in my inventory, because I am out here to scout for a location for the town. You might hear my fan because it's trying to generate all this. So I'm going to come back when I found a good place. But in the meantime, here is a montage of me fixing up the electric desert. I finally worked on the chasm a little bit. This might be a good spot over there. But anyway, I'll see you in a sec. Okay, I just popped into the world after I'd been working in MC Edit for a long time, and this looks so much better. All the smooth lighting made these so interesting. So I added some floating islands. That was really on a whim because of a mistake that happened over there. When I was using the brush, I accidentally held the right click, and so it did it right in front of me. And I was like, hey, that's a good idea. And so I added some over here, and they're entirely out of sand. And I think I'm going to keep it like that, because if you disturb it in the wrong way, the entire floating island will fall down. And I think that's kind of cool. It might lag computers a lot if that happens, but I like the idea of it. And I made a lot of changes to the terrain that's in places you're not necessarily directed to, just so it's not boring. There's still a lot of flat ground, and I'm going to put all these dead bushes around. Maybe some cactus. But overall, it's just not boring anymore. So it directs your attention toward the temple. That's where all the interesting things are. And that is where the lightning will be. And I'm pretty happy with this. Maybe I'll go in and smooth some of these shapes out, because I don't like how obvious they are that I used a brush. But if you're coming across from that way, it's more of a challenge, which is what I wanted. Alright, I've been flying around for a little while, and I think this is actually my favorite. It's the one that I found just barely, and it's right next to spawn. It doesn't have any snow. I don't like the stone in the snow. I wasn't looking for that. So there's grass everywhere, and there's trees, and there's interesting formations. It already comes with that. So I'm going to import this area. I need to decide how big, but I want the player to basically have a good roaming location. They can go away from the town and get some resources if they need some extra. It's a good hub, because they're going to return to the town a lot. And when you first get to the town, you have nothing. So I'm going to give the player some stuff in the houses and as gifts and stuff, but they will be free to collect their own resources. Woohoo! So I'm going to do that, and then start on the houses, and I'll see you then. Alright, so I moved that whole big chunk, and now there's this extra teleport, goes in between spawn and the town, just like the intersection in the other world, and it's down there. Yes, and so now I just need to figure out where I want the player's house to be. And remembering that I can change the difficulty, and remembering that this is supposed to be multiplayer compatible. So it shouldn't be too small or hard to get to, and yet it should still be interesting. So I really like this center, and I mean it has a moat almost. The ravine is on the other side, but this area is just so cool, and it was right by the spawn. I'm so proud of that. But is that not updated? Well, I don't think that's a copy bug. I think it actually generated like that. So all of this would be dark near the town, and maybe I should have a player or myself play in it for a little bit to light up some of the areas, make it work better. And I think I can put some buildings up top, but I don't want to because the town needs to be kind of contained. So I've decided that I like these contained little hills, and they're good places for houses, and I want to build the player's house on this one. And in the story they're going to wake up, and I think I want to have some family members there too, just for extra interaction to show you that, hey, you just woke up, all of that was a dream. But this location gives a good view. If I want to put a window over here, it shows you that, hey, you're in a cool spot where this town is, and you'll be able to see it. I'll probably put a house over there, maybe one on top, but I'm thinking some docks into these little pools for fishing, and some huts next to that. And I'm going to utilize this area for some of the bigger town pieces. And then overall, this is going to be another project like the Electric Temple, where I'll just work on it and then go do something else and then come back later. But that's what this is going to be like. So I'm going to spend some time, make a good house, and we'll see how much time I have left after that. My goodness, that took forever. This is actually day 2, and I want to work on something else. So I'll show you around the 2 other houses that I didn't have that 180 on, or 360. So this I was imagining as basically a restaurant, because on top that's where you have all of these, the serving area and the kitchen, and I'll spruce up all of these. Again, it's going to be a project like the Electric Temple, but so far they're somewhat homey. I would still add things. This bedroom is entirely empty, but again, this has 2 bedrooms, and just like the other one. Then this house, here, I'll walk along here, it's a smaller one, so it's not in the way of the view as much, and it doesn't have to be as big as the other ones. So here's another kitchen with some shelving, with another bedroom, which I did add a bed in, this one. And it's actually attached to the mountain instead of to the ground. Like all the other ones have pillars that go all the way down. Oh, except for this one. Let me just fix that. Is that side okay? And I wanted that to utilize that area, because once it gets really steep like this, that is a long pillar, and it seemed odd that they would build that far over if they had to make that such a long pillar. And so I made it so this one was attached to the edge of the mountain. And one thing that you might not have seen is I made a little well around this lava fall, which spawned there naturally. And I'm pretty satisfied with that. I don't know what I would use it for. Maybe at some point the player needs to go through it as it clears out, because it would be easy, just and then clear out all the lava. Yeah, and then so there might be something under there that furthers the story later in the chapters. But overall, I'm fairly satisfied. There's still a bunch of things that I'll tweak as I'm working on these. And inside here, I don't know if I went through, is going to be a game room. So that TV and this ping pong table, I'm going to use maps and import the pictures onto them, so I can just stick them on the walls and the floor on the table like that. And then yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, but I want to work on something else. So I think I'm going to get some more of the machines done for this part of the episode, and then that should be good, and I'll export and upload it. So if you look on the right side, my player chapter is 2, because I've been working on the chapter transitions. Oh, I'll show you this in a second. On intersection 1, when you give the guardian the item that you've retrieved from the electric desert, which is, oh, I think I actually changed that since I last showed. So the clock, the timepiece, it's cool, and I want to use it for an artifact, but not here, because it doesn't fit with the theme at all. It's not talking about time, and this has nothing to do with electricity. It was the electric desert. There's lightning. It's dry, and so it's statically conductive. And so I made this glowstone dust, which is called charged, and this is the artifact that you'll get from the electric temple. And that you bring to the guardian and put it in this region, which will be lit up, and then it will activate the chapter transition, which will, I'm going to do some nether portal particles. I don't remember what they're called exactly, but the ones you find around the nether portal that like zoom into it, because in the last map that I made, Rift Up, I used that for a teleporter, and I think that worked very well. And if I can summon that around all the players before I do the chapter transition, then it lets them know that it's coming instead of just abrupt. And it's pretty cool if you're in the middle of it. But those objects that were on the platforms over there, they are for use later. Here, these are actually 2 objects. It's split along this line, and this is the wall that's normal, and this is the wall that gets cloned in, and I put them in the spawn chunks so I could clone them from here to wherever I was. Oh, don't hit that. So if I turn this on, it clones it over here, and you can see there's a box behind here. And oh yeah, I was messing around with some of the floor tiles. I was originally doing it red, but I was wondering if it would be better if I use a different color, because, and I might not use the yellow one because you just go through the doorway, the hall over there, to get to the electric desert. So this Dream 2, which I haven't decided what it will be yet, that is the theme that will be on this pad, and this is where you will teleport after you finish Dream 2, and you're supposed to bring the artifact back to him again, and then you'll probably put it in this one, and then it'll activate the next chapter transition, which you'll wake up and then find another part of the story active. So I can demonstrate, and I'm working on changing it, all of these for use of individual player chapters, because if someone, what I'm trying to protect against is if someone joins the game in a group later than everyone else has. Because if everyone as the group has already transitioned between the electric desert and waking up into the town, then the person that enters, they'll be kind of out of luck because they won't get that teleport. And so how will they get back there? So it has to store the chapters individually for each player, all 8 of them maximum. So let's see if I can get that working. Okay, now I can test it from, I'm going to choose a different, there we go. So this is my stored inventory, it is empty. Let's put a sign in there. Yeah. No. So this one, yeah, I think it goes in here. Yes. Okay, sorry. Don't even know my own machine. So intersection 1, after you give him the artifact, you'll go over here and it will do the nether particles and zoom in, and then you'll spawn over here and die. And I feel like that will confuse some people, but oh, see, there's the sign. Perfect. And then you spawn in the new location, which is in the bed or in your room. And I'm going to have different spawn locations for each of the 8 players. Player 0 would be here, player 1 is here, but then the other ones would be arrayed around here, because most people in the group, they play with 1 or 2 people. And I have seen a maximum of 4, no more than that actually, but I want to make it compatible for everyone. But at least I want it to work very well for 2. And of course it's supposed to work for 1. And then you're in the town, and I think the introductory scene that I want you to get is that you're woken up by your mom, and she's in the kitchen and she calls you in for breakfast. And the sun, I'm actually going to control manually the timing of the day here. So when that chapter transition happens, it will set it to just morning. And once you get some breakfast, then it'll advance it just barely a little bit. And you'll, well, first of all, you'll get some food. But then as you complete the checkpoints throughout this chapter, then you will get some extra daylight until it gets to noon, and then back down as you figure out some of the more interesting stuff. And then once it's nighttime, or rather once you get the epiphany of this area, the denouement of this chapter, then it will be nighttime and you'll be called back to sleep, and then that's where Dream 2 will activate after you get back into your room. I don't know if I can test to see if the players are actually sleeping, but if they're in here, I guess that's another machine that I haven't worked on yet. But then it will do chapter transition from 1 to 2, which I can simulate up at my workstation. So you figure some stuff out. I'm still going to add some houses over there, maybe over here. And oh, I thought about what I'm going to put on top. It's going to be a kind of like a park, a public land, where it's an interesting location. It's high up, and so I want it to be free like that. Then, and I can use that as a location for extra story, like have me meet someone there. Anyway, this is chapter transition for the next one. So it does the same inventory swap. So I no longer have that sign, and then I'm going to get everything else back. And it teleports me from the 1 to 2, and I have it currently set here because I don't have the next dream made out. And I'm thinking of what theme I should have the dream, and my dad has actually had some good ideas, and I might use that. But I have my journal, and I'm going to decide how things go. So give me a sec to think about what to work on next. Oh, one thing I didn't mention is that I added the machine where the eyeball guardian talks to you, and so it's in this region as you get basically into the room, and he says, "Welcome to my chamber. bring the charged dust and place it in the lit item frame. So he gives you instructions so that you at least know how to advance to the next chapter. And that was using tell raw commands. I can go show you the machine. The workstation is this one. It tests for a certain player in that location, and it turns itself off, so it only activates once. And the tell raw commands is using a list of JSON items with the text and the color so that I can make them both dark red. Yeah, this one has two because I want them on the same line. The deep voice as its name, and then the actual text, and then on the next line I didn't put the name, and I still did a tell raw so that it would do it like that, have it split by line, because sometimes if you make your text too long it wraps around all the way and it gets cut off and it's annoying. But you know what, I am out of time, so I'm going to put this episode together and post it. So thanks for watching.